with a lot of, especially spiritual truth seekers, it always starts from a level of immense pain. And so for me, growing up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and being surrounded by a lot of low vibrational energies, just the environment itself with the amount of violence, the amount of just hopelessness, I really felt at a young age that I want more than this. I want something better for myself because it was such a debilitating experience to consistently see people die, consistently people see people go to jail, consistently watch people settle and not believe in anything other than what was there for them. And I feel like it was my spirit or my intuition that really made me want something better, not just for myself, but I knew that I could help other people in turn by following that spiritual urge from within.
It's very true what you said that lots of our wake up calls and lots of our transformations often come
Mhm.
from a pain and suffering. It can be either a personal trauma and personal suffering, something that we've been through, or it could
Mhm.
be simply seeing what's happening around us in the world, in our immediate surroundings, or in the world globally that gets us thinking to be like, there needs to be another way. There needs to be a way I can feel better, and if I'm feeling better, I want other people. And I love that there's usually the
Yeah.
connection between, I don't call it selfish. Like, I think everyone deserves to want to feel better. There's no need
Yeah.
to label it as if I want the best for myself, that it's selfish. No. But at the same time, I want the best for everyone else there.
Exactly.
So I'm curious now, in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day practice, how do you keep your energy up and positive and upbeat and recharged to then be able to do this wonderful work and help others?
Yeah, I think there's always what I call a divinely inspired intention that you hold. Um, I've always felt like if you have a mark to hit each day, like whether that wherever you are in your journey, your spiritual journey, whether it's just goals or whether it's some form of divinely inspired intention and purpose, that really helps you. It sort of tugs you along in a sense because when you know you have that, when you know there's this focal point, from my own experience, I find I'm not swayed as much as I used to be when I was fumbling around and like, proverbially swimming in the ocean without any type of buoy or anything like that. I would just, be taken left, taken right, all over the place and no sense of stability or structure. But once I found that intention, which is for me is like, how can I create the highest impact? How can I raise the vibration, of everyone around me, social media, whatever it is, whoever it is. Once I had that in place, that just kind of, okay, no matter how this manifests itself today, this is my goal. This is my intention. This is my inspiration.
You talk about being in this proverbial ocean without a
Mhm.
buoy or anything to grab on, and this gut feeling that you had growing up that there
Mhm.
was more out there. And for those who are listening, who are maybe having that gut feeling, how what did you do to start this journey? Because there's normally something that you start with, and it's not necessarily
Mhm.
the right step the first time, but it's the first step, and then you get introduced to something else, and then until you find your buoy in the ocean. I'm gonna keep with that analogy.
Yeah.
So what got you started? So you've had this gut feeling, you knew that there was more out there, you knew that you wanted to create more. What did you do to start that? What process or guides did you have, or what systems did you go down? Because these journeys are so personal.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about breathing, we've talked about water, we've talked about somatic, we've talked about crystals, it could be anything. Would love
Mhm.
to know what was that first step for you that got you to where you are now.
Okay, that is a wonderful question, and thank you, Natalie, for elaborating so wonderfully on that. Uh, what I will say that I didn't have when I was going through this, and I want everybody to know who's listening, who may know, you don't have to figure it all out right then and there, right? So naturally, because I've done so much with the law of attraction, what I find is we're feeling beings. And the biggest part of life is really tapping into what your soul feels at home, feels the best, feels light, feels like love, all enjoy and all these amazing things. And I would just say follow that, follow the thing that feels like love. When I had my first encounter with the divine, it brought me to tears. Like I've never cried before. You would have thought somebody had died. And actually, looking back in hindsight, I feel like it was the older me, the lower self of me dying. And so it just brought so much joy and so much love to me that I just burst out into tears. But then I was like, okay, now what? Right. And the thing is there's no manual other than let me tap into uh the God within myself every day. And that looks like as simple as starting out 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening to just sit still and listen. And what you find is the more that you tap into that energy and that practice, the better your spiritual hearing gets. And then all of a sudden you're getting ideas, impressions, intuitive nudges on how to proceed from there. So I think it's really important to let people know, like, you don't have to just go through this and then boom, you're Gandhi, right? or the Dalai Lama or anything like that. No, you tap into it, and then I've always felt God works line upon line, precept upon precept. So it's just one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. We complete this step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And then before we know it, we can see how far we've come when we've just taken those steps. So the focus only has to be on the step at hand. And if you listen and you get in silence and you really just be patient and loving with yourself, some true divine magic can unfold.
It sounds so simple. Just sit for 10 minutes. It sounds so simple. And Lenka and I know it's not.
Yeah.
It is simple, but it's not just boom. It's happened all of a sudden. It is a journey. It's a process. And it's can sometimes feel, wow, this is happening. And sometimes it's like, what the hell is going on? This isn't working. So it's a journey that you're on pretty much for life. Once you start the journey, you can't unsee what you've seen, as the saying goes. Are there any sort of books or people that have inspired you to keep going? Because there are those moments where, and I'm sure you've had them, I know I've had them, I know Lenka's had them, is this, what the hell am I doing? What's the next step? What's the next process? And a lot of this work is inner, it is personal, it is solitary, but a lot of the work is also with others, with connecting with others, whether it's a book, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a coach, whether it's a elder, it doesn't matter what it is, but this journey is not always on our own. It is our own journey, but it's not being alone throughout the journey. So I'd love to hear who's inspired you, or what books have you read or listened to, or what keeps you going and to want to keep going on this journey, because not every day is easy. There's simple processes, yes, but they're not easy processes. There's a difference between simple and easy. And this is the thing, it is a journey, and I'd love to know what helps you to keep going, or who helps you to keep going, to keep that process that gives you energy, that helps you to heal yourself, so you can then spread the love, spread the knowledge, and spread your energy around.
Yeah, I honestly, my relationship with the divine and it encompassing everything, as well as ourselves, us being made in the image and likeness of the all that is, that's the energy where everything starts. So my connection, my embodiment of source gives me the ability to look not only past, but look into situations and find positive outcomes and just affirm that this is working out for me, even when it's the most challenging experience that I've gone through. I've gone through a lot, so, but so I grew up in a very Catholic household. It was very, very strict, very stern. And so church was kind of organized religion was kind of my stepping stone to my relationship with God, with the all that is. And what I found is love began to outweigh religion so much. And that helped me to connect to God, to connect to source, and then begin to interpret things intuitively in a way that I couldn't have if I would have stayed in that place. And so, interestingly enough, it led me back to the Bible, but being able to take the Bible and interpret it in more of a metaphysical capacity as opposed to just a religious capacity. And what I found was all of these different truths that spoke to my spirit like I'd never experienced before, even after being like 20, 22, almost 25 years in organized religion. The words just started jumping off of the page. And from that point, one of the books that I'll never forget, I was on this journey, and my mom, she went to the thrift store and she saw a copy of this book. It's called The Power of Positive Thinking, and it's by Norman Vincent Peale. And the book was 50 cents in the in the thrift store. And I remember she came in and she threw it on the bed. She was like, "I thought you might like this." And she had no idea I was like on that journey. And that book really helped me because he was not only a minister, which related to me at the time, but he was also uh, really diving in to these metaphysical principles that could show you how to center yourself and not take control of your thoughts, but be more in harmony with your thoughts. And that just kind of developed this affinity to the law of attraction and these things, and just understanding if I can help people to think, their highest and greatest and most high vibrational um, essence of who they are, I can help their lives. And that started with that book, and then it just kind of carried on to more and more, and it just expanded into where I am today.
Being open and just listening
Mhm.
to yourself and embracing that light that's in you. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's really powerful, and it's beautiful and everything else.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I'll just add something here. Um, my belief and my intuitive knowing is religion was always something to limit people and to limit people spiritually. And when you can limit people spiritually, you can limit them in every other area. And I had a conversation with my brother some years ago, one of my brothers, and he was telling me how, I'm sorry, not intuition, religion really dimmed and sort of created like this cloak on his intuition, because he would feel something that he knew was right for him, but because of his conditioning, he couldn't act on it. So he was conflicted for a very long time. And I feel like that's almost cult-like in a sense, that it keeps you from understanding what's right for you and what's right for your soul ultimately. So when we can sort of rise out of that vibration in whatever way that looks like for each of us, it just opens up this whole new expansive dimension of wisdom, knowledge, insight, and understanding that helps us to take the next steps to truly be the most authentic version of us, which is, I feel personally and intuitively, is our greatest gift to God, is being as true and sincere and genuine as we've been created to be.